If you're out there looking for a home and you want to find somebody that's going to be professional and help you get the absolute best deal, we know the right person for you.
That's right, and that's Kirsten Ballew. She is in the business, guys, highly qualified, right? We've talked to a lot of folks that have worked with her. Great reviews all across the board, extremely experienced and top-notch expertise. She knows the deal, how to get you from A to B. Getting into your dream home can be extremely difficult and overwhelming, right? You want to be around somebody that can walk you through this difficult process.
Not only that, but when you go down to the link in our comments and click on that and then mention Discussion Combustion, you will get $500 off your closing costs.
We'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
I have learned one rule of party etiquette in my years of etiquette, and that is when you're drinking 2 beers or you're drinking a beer and someone gives you another beer. Happens a lot in parties. Oh, I got you another beer. What do? You drink the coldest one always first.
And then you come back to the warmth?
Then you come back to the warmth.
That's a pretty good approach, I think. And that makes sense to me. But I drink beer so quick that it's like the temperature's not going to fluctuate too much unless I'm holding it. I guess that hand heat in there, that's why they make them koozies.
I mean, that initial frost and wet, it goes away pretty quick. So you might want to just take a few off that one first and then move back. Or you can, back
kind of alternate, regulate the temp.
Always take the first off the coldest immediately, because that one just...
There's nothing better than a cold, frosty beer. Like, I was telling Art this earlier, I think our fridge is like 40 degrees. It's a little bit too warm, I think.
Yeah, but Greta is not doing her job right now.
She's not, and we're going to have to address that. And Greta is our refrigerator, for folks that don't know that. But there's nothing like reaching in when you're camping or you're hanging out with the boys tailgating and you're reaching in that cooler and the ice comes out with it and you're knocking it off your beer and it's all wet and you just crack that sumbitch and it's colder than hell. I love it.
Yeah.
Give me a cold one.
A cold one. Condensated. Yeah. That was the word I was looking for.
Condensated beer. It's so damn cold.
Condensation on the outside of it. That's when you get it sweating.
Yes.
Hashtag
so
condensation consumption.
That's what I want. I want it to be so cold when I drink it that it's a challenge. Like, you're like sipping it fast and kind of getting it in, and it's like, whoa, like it kind of hits you, and like you kind of get like the hiccups, like the involuntary like spasms in your solar plexus and stuff. And
it brings tears to your eyes, because you're trying to slam it so quick, and your throat's just like you're getting like a brain freeze almost.
I was gonna say there's some kind of relation to a brain freeze.
Yeah.
Kicking off the episode, talking about one of our favorite pastimes, drinking booze with buddies.
That was a perfect timed crack right there. So
it's awesome to have you in.
We have a legend in the studio.
Yeah.
We got Ryan Chrys.
Oh, shit.
Super solid lad legend. Playing music. You said you've been playing a long time. Just met you like 20 minutes ago, but I can tell you got good vibes. Checked out your music, man. Really cool stuff, which we will all include in the show notes down below. Let's talk some music, man. How'd you get into it?
Born into it. My mom was a folk singer, country singer. Played the troubadour when she was young, and was super into Joan Baez and that whole thing. Bought a Martin in the 60s, which she still has. It's like insane, and taught me some chords, and
you were hooked.
How old were you, do you think, when you learned your first chord?
I mean, I didn't start strumming chords until I was in high school.
Yeah.
But music was around me, from the start. I have an older brother too who was into rock, so I got the country and the rock on both kind of ends as I was growing up. I love both, man. I love all music. But
yeah, music's the soundtrack to life.
Except for one kind.
Oh, yeah. What do you got there? Death before pop country?
So I can agree with this opinion. We were listening to some of your songs prior to you coming in, and you had a line about another line between Florida and Georgia, and
we were all in agreement immediately.
And I was like, I completely agree with those lyrics, but I did attend one of their concerts once, and it was one of the most confusing shows. I felt like what was I even watching? I didn't know what it was. Was it supposed to be hip hop? Was it supposed to be country?
That's a good question.
Like, what was it that I was watching? And it was a very confusing show for me. And I just, there's good music in every genre, and there's bad music in every genre as well.
Well, let me see your wrist first of all. I'm going to spank it.
Why? What did I
If
get
you
that
went
for?
to The Florida Georgia Line show.
I didn't pay for the tickets.
Okay.
So
That's
can I get
still-
you back?
No, you win. I mean,
No, you're good, man. Look, Nelly was also performing that night, and
like
so
Nelly.
so he killed it. He
Nelly's
killed
cool.
it. Yeah.
I mean, look, I love country music. I haven't thrown these up in a while, Art, but I wear my shit kickers. I love some good old American fucking down south shit. But I'm like a red dirt kind of guy.
yeah.
Cody Jinks is probably my favorite guy in country music right now.
Yeah.
I was a big Dierks Bentley guy. He's kind of mainstream for me.
Dirks came to our gig.
Did he?
Really?
He's a super cool guy. I met him at Red Rocks in 2012. Had a beer with him.
Seven Peaks Festival.
Oh yeah, Seven Peaks, which is coming up here in a couple weeks. You guys playing it?
It's now down different place.
Because it was Buena Vista, right? And he moved it down to
Vista.
Buena Vista.
Give me your hand.
All right.
Oh,
All
gosh.
right.
Don't ever say Buena in Buna.
Buna.
Or you'll get a hook in the mouth.
That's the first
Trust
time we
me.
both got a slap on the wrist in the first 10 minutes of
I
our
know.
show.
Usually I'm the one owning it, but now I feel like I'm getting owned.
Well, like I said, we got a legend in the studio.
Yeah, I've made plenty of mispronunciations in different towns that I've played, and that was one of them.
Yeah, it's always funny because I feel like because I'm from New England, so I have a little bit of an accent that comes out the more I drink. But like Coloradans, did I say that right?
I think so. Yes.
Coloradans.
No,
Are
Colorado.
you a native?
I'm native Montanan.
Ooh, he's a
Okay.
Montanan. Okay. But yeah, I feel like I don't know if Colorado has an accent. I think we've talked about this before, but like the way that they pronounce things out here is a little bit different than other dialects around the country. But for the most part, I feel like it's such a melting pot here, right? You got California, Texas, New York, New England. Everyone kind of moves here, and it's like a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Would you say that's fair?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Colorado would maybe a Rocky Mountain thing, but I don't know. Colorado specific has an accent.
Yeah.
Maybe I mean every place maybe has a few words. I should say. You should say it doesn't have an accent, but because every geographical location seems to have a few words, doesn't it? I mean, I feel like
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you go to the South, they have their slang and dialect, and us New Englanders, we say some dumb shit.
Well, I mean, even here in my home state of Colorado, is you got people from the prairie pronounce it Colorado.
Colorado.
You got people from the city call it Colorado. You got people that just say CO. But here's the thing, Colorado, we don't. What we're talking about is like the slang culture, or like how we talk out here. And I agree, like Colorado doesn't really have its own thing, but since everybody moves here, like we kind of, as a native, I feel like I've adapted the tongue of where my friends lived and came from.
Yeah, it's like that melting pot, right? Everyone's it's a little bit of everything. You get a taste of everything out here, which is cool. I love Denver, or as we would say in New England, Denver. It's a fun city for sure. There's a lot of good music here, a lot of good eats, good people. But it's getting big. Like our infrastructure can't support this influx of people moving here. I feel like that's kind of what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Traffic's just backed up. It's like turning into LA on I-25.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere is though.
Yeah. I mean,
everywhere
you
in the
travel, you
West.
see it.
Yeah. I mean, we drive all over, and every place sucks, to be honest, except for every big city or whatever. But,
Right.
And you think, oh, Denver sucks, and then you go to LA or Chicago or
New York.
or even Phoenix. It's just like, okay, I can handle Denver now.
Yeah.
you know?
That's a
That
good
makes
point. Yeah, sometimes people forget like how big Phoenix is. It's like 5 times the size of Denver as far as population. But I do love that town, man. Phoenix is a really good town. We're going to be down there in November for the NASCAR championship, kind of covering that.
We'll be down there next month. We'll be down there in September for the Thunder Valley Rally, which is this huge, badass motorcycle rally. We're playing in Phoenix too, but we'll be all over there. That's one of our probably top two or three markets
Is Phoenix?
Arizona.
Good people down there too, man. I really dig that. The vibe is it's got, it's like a old West. I think that's what I like about it. It's got that old kind of red dirt, kind of that West Texas feel a little bit with cactuses. It's just a cool place. I always love going.
We played the old movie set in old Tucson, which is where Three Amigos was filmed.
Oh, yeah.
All these movies. It's legendary.
You guys played it, huh?
They have that steampunk festival there, which is it's killer, man. It's like, and we got to play that right before the pandemic came and shut it all down.
Fucked everything up.
Yeah.
How'd you guys survive that or get through it?
How'd we get it?
Get through the pandemic, not playing music.
We went to Wyoming and South Dakota where there was no virus.
Okay.
It's funny how you find the places.
Plenty of gigs, man. No,
Interesting.
Because people still wanted entertainment. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. I mean, you guys did it right. You capitalized on the market situation, right? Go to where people want to listen to music.
They were hiring.
Yeah.
So we went.
Okay.
So do you ride as well, bikes?
No. I mean, we play Sturgis every year, and I got some friends that loan me their Harleys and stuff, and I ride dirt bikes. I'm born and raised on dirt bikes, but that's about it. But
Have you broken some bones?
I've cracked some bones, and I've broken some vertebrae, and I haven't broken any major like bones, but
Was that related to dirt biking or other injuries?
skiing,
Oh,
dirt
skiing.
biking, falling on my face, doing stupid shit, and eyeing on there, shitting. But yeah, I mean, general living life stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to live a little bit. Like, we can't just be comfortable all the time. Life is meant to be exciting, and in order to do that, you got to take some risks.
I mean, it's the classic: no falls, no balls, no pain, no gain.
100%. I was just thinking it's like a cliche statement, you only live once, get out and own it and that kind of stuff. But it's true. Yeah. You never know what kind of, moments, memories, and experiences that you can create by just getting out there and breaking some bones, drinking some beers,
Yeah.
We're in our mid-30s. We did the drugs in our 20s. We got that out of our system and go live life, experience things. That's what I tell folks. Just be smart about it, right?
Yeah. There's a lyric in one of our songs from our new album. It says, "Make risk a tool of your trade."
I like that.
And you gotta use it wisely. The older you get, you gotta use it wisely. But
So does your group or band, do you ever like collaborate on lyrics, or do you have like one person who writes lyrics, or does everybody kind of get their heads together and like put it together?
the songs are always open to interpretation and massage or whatever. But generally, I bring the song and Michael and Susan refine it musically, and then write their parts for it. That's generally how it works. But there's no formula that we set that it's like, this is how it works or this is how we do it.
Every song kind of takes its own shape.
Yeah.
Like, I made over 90 songs like digitally. Like I would digitally make my beats, and then I was a rapper. I still rap, but I was like really focused on that.
See that hand? Just kidding.
Hey, no, I'm gonna flip and reverse it on you for that one. But it's interesting because when you're in that creation mode, songs can just be so different. And I thought it was pop country. Like I didn't see no Death Before Rap on your shirt.
I don't got a problem with that. I like, I mean, the legends are my Dre and Snoop and all down the line. That's part of all of our American hearts.
It should be.
I mean,
yes.
Great songwriters. I mean, we can all recognize a good songwriter or a lyricist or any of that composer, whatever you want to call these guys. There's good talent out there for sure.
Oh yeah.
But music creation is interesting because you don't ever really know where you're going to end up. Like, you just have to start. And like, that's what's fun about making instrumentals, or what used to be really fun. It's been a while for me, but was like, I'll just start with like, all right, what is the claps sound going to sound like? And then you just slowly build it. And then all of a sudden, like, you're getting your melodies in there and stuff. And it's like, it's just a very interesting process and extremely satisfying in that creation. And like, I don't know, there's like a euphoria there that is experienced when you hit that right riff, or you found the right melody, and you're like, holy shit, does this sound as good as I think it does, sort of thing. And like, it's so much fun. And then especially because I performed live several times, not nearly close to your track record, But I'm sure like once you get on stage and then you're putting it out there and then people are actually feeling your shit live action, like that's a whole nother level of like, you know, I'm doing the right thing.
And having fun doing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other big thing, right? When you take the stage, you're having a good time. You're doing it because you love it.
Yeah. And, you know, I think musicians sometimes get confused between, okay, the audience is into it, I'm having a good time now, and, you know, or versus, you know, the band is sounding good and the sound is good, I'm into it, okay, now the audience is getting into it, you know, so there's some kind of ego thing in there between bands and musicians that I've seen, but on a lower level that our band is in, it's about the music in the band, and when the band is on fire, it doesn't matter, you know, what else is going on in the world, because this is having fun and just,
And you guys are vibing.
that feeling you were talking about when you're hitting the riff or the lyric, you know.
It's a euphoric feeling for sure. I got to experience it for a bit. I played in a band called the Ridge Runners. Listeners know a little bit about this. And, you know, I got my first Martin guitar when I was about 24, 25, I think. And I was like, this is epic. You know, it just changed my love for music. Understanding, you know, music structure and writing songs. I mean, I structure mine in a lot of 4/4/4, but playing that guitar, sitting down with Jamie Rorick, who is a huge part of the success of this show. He was my lead guitar player, and there was something about when him and I would write, you know, I would just strum a G, D, C progression, right? And I'd look over at him, and he would start soloing over it. And that moment you have when you collaborate with somebody, and you can just, you don't even have to say anything. You're just like, yeah, you feel it. I was like, this is epic.
Yeah.
This is what we play for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And then, if somebody's watching and getting into it, even more of a hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
You know? But either way, you're having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. It's fun to collaborate, be around other musicians. You know, that's always fun too. Like I said, I played for a short time, and I still try to pick up the guitar as frequently as I can. Art will come over, he'll freestyle over some of my guitar riffs, and you know, just try to stay fresh with it. You know, keep the callus going. Yeah. But you know, generally speaking, I play mostly cowboy chords. You know, a couple power chords here and there, basic riffs. I love drop D tuning. You know, just kind of goof off and have some fun with it. You know.
Yeah. You know, you could rule the world with 3 chords.
It's true. Tom Petty did it well.
Yeah.
AC/DC did it well.
Yeah. And on and on and on.
Yeah. That's the thing, man, is I think like people overthink it a little bit when it comes to like writing and collaborating and creating. It doesn't have to be overthought. You know, don't convolute it. If it sounds good, right, you got a good chorus, good riff, write the bridge, you got a song.
Yeah.
Might not be the next #1 hit, but it's a completed track, right?
Or it might be.
Or it might be. You never know.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good philosophy in general in life. Like, what I've come to find is that some of the most complicated questions have a super simple solution. And it's just such a complicated question that it's like, you know, you're like trying to think too much about it when really the answer is very simple. So it's like same thing with music. The easier you can keep it, you know, keep it simple. Like, cause I would make beats and like I would start overcomplicating it. Like, oh, this snare might sound good here, and it's all of a sudden too much fucking noise in there. So the whole creation and seeing something from nothing, it came from your mind, that's a feeling that everyone should experience at some point, whether it's like a painting or, you know, like doing something creative, like crafts or making furniture, like whatever you want to do. You should make something out of your mind because that's extremely satisfying. But I want to ask, what has been your favorite venue that you've played at? Like, do you have a favorite place that you guys completely rocked out at and it was just, that was the night?
It's hard to say because there's other circumstances involved in the venues, but there's a new venue in Missoula called the Kettle House Amphitheater. It's like amazing. It's like a mini Red Rocks on the river. We played there, sold out. We were opening for a country guy named Justin Moore. That was incredible. Played in Switzerland this year. Bellamy Brothers were headlining. That was incredible. I've sat in at Red Rocks, but the band hasn't played at Red Rocks. That's obviously #1.
Yeah.
And we played just a lot of weird little places along, you know, the Front Range from from New Mexico up to Montana, like Mishawaka, we played a month or so ago with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Love
That
Nitty
place
Gritty.
is incredible, you know. It's right on the river, like you're sitting. The drum set is like looking on the river.
That's badass.
So it's hard to say like what was the coolest
That's true.
because the energy involved makes a difference too, and like what was the weather like, and you know, were you drinking Bud Light or Coors Light or
What is it? If you had to choose your beer, what is your beer?
I'm a Coors Light guy, but but at the same time, my favorite beer of all time is free beer. So
I think everyone could get behind that one.
yeah.
Yeah. No, there's nothing like playing outdoors, I feel like, too. That adds just especially when you're in an epic location. Like, obviously, Red Rock's epic. The Telluride Bluegrass Festival is still, I keep telling myself every year I'm going to go, and then I just get bogged down and I haven't made it. I don't know if you've been out there for that, but I heard it is tremendous.
Tremendous. And Telluride in the spring is a different world than Telluride in the fall. And the Bluegrass Festival is always in the spring. Yeah.
We need to go. I mean, the bands that play out there, we saw the Del McCourys, which were fantastic. Dirks did an album with them, the Traveling McCourys, up on the Ridge record, which was
they're
fantastic. I know those guys have played out there, and that's kind of what piqued my interest to, I need to go check this out. I mean, I saw some of the videos of it, and it's like almost like a mini Woodstock in the mountains.
Oh man. Yeah. At any cost, it is it's a top tier world event. And you can know that just by looking at the lineup every year, because the legends come out of the woodwork for that event, man. It's just crazy. So,
Yeah, Ricky Skaggs and some of the legends of bluegrass. I don't know how much into bluegrass you are.
I mean, Bela Fleck, does anybody need to hear more? I mean, he's probably the greatest banjo player, and, he's like, even if his band isn't playing there, he'll just walk on stage.
Just
and,
go rip.
And just, I mean, all the greats, yeah. Play there.
That's how, like Jerry Douglas.
Jerry Douglas,
amazing dobro player. He did a collaboration with Tommy Emmanuel. I don't know if you're familiar with Tommy Emmanuel.
Oh, yeah.
What an amazing guitar player.
Oh,
I got into him here recently. I was like, holy shit.
he played the Soiled Dove not long ago.
Yeah, I know. My good buddy Jeff, who's listening, he told me to go to that show. He's like, you have to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know who Tommy Emmanuel is. And then I listened to his music, and I was like, damn it, why didn't I go?
Yeah.
But he did a collab with Jerry Douglas. It was amazing. I mean, just tremendous musicians. Allison Krauss and Union Station, Dan Terminsky, all those guys. I love them.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Bluegrass is a cool genre.
Oh, yeah. I love bluegrass, and, it's, a lot of forms, it's just sped up country with banjo,
Yeah. And minimal percussion, right? The upright bass and the picking patterns on the mandolin kind of hold the tempo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, some of the greatest musicians I've seen have come out of that genre. And I talked to a lot of metalheads, too, that love.
I mean, look at Billy Strings now. He's like one of the top artists
Yeah, he nailed it.
in the U.S. I mean,
He is incredible.
Yeah.
He's a young guy.
yeah.
Super young guy.
Super
but
young.
killing it. I mean,
How old is he?
I don't know exactly how old he is, but I saw a video of him when he was like 15 or 16 when he was getting into it.
Not more than early 20s. I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was going to agree with that. He's probably drinking age at best.
Okay.
Jeff went and saw him live, and he said it was one of the greatest shows he's seen.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I encourage everyone. I had a sticker on my guitar case that said "Legalize Bluegrass," because I got into bluegrass when I fell in love with it when I moved to Colorado for whatever the reason. This is a big bluegrass state.
Probably
I feel
was
like.
green grass that got you.
Yeah, he might have something to do with that. But
Hey now.
that's another story. But it's just a cool genre of music. I feel like.
Yeah.
Everyone, every time I've seen bluegrass live, everyone's stomping around, having fun. The crowd's into it. It's just such a different vibe from metal. You get the mosh pits. People are slashing around, throwing fists, and all that stuff. And bluegrass, everyone's just kind of ripping joints.
I cried at a bluegrass concert when we went and saw Dirk and the Traveling McCourys.
Dirks and the Traveling McCourys.
Yeah, when we saw, I may have been on substances that increased the
Yes.
the situation and the emotional standing, but like it was beautiful, and like they're up there just doing it, and you can just see the passion. People are sweating on stage playing these epic instruments, and there's something. Maybe this is why you wanted to slap me on my wrist, is because when I was making music, it was all digital, right? Was that why? Because it wasn't like live music. I mean, occasionally I would, and the reason why I say this is because there's a difference between like if I'm composing something digitally opposed to like you actually have somebody recording a live guitar. Like I feel like there's going to be a stronger energy with the live recordings of like a live instrument, right? Opposed to like you're digitally making it.
I mean, for sure, but I slapped your wrist not because of that necessarily, but because normally, if a musician is professional or is a musician or whatever, then they're really good or whatever, and you're like, okay, man. And this goes for all kinds of music, it's like, oh yeah, that's badass, and whether you like that genre or not.
Yeah.
But if you're a guy that's like, oh, I occasionally play the guitar, I occasionally dabble in a few things or whatever. Well, sometimes I occasionally rap, and I'm a middle-aged white guy that's like occasionally raps. Okay.
No, I freestyle every day.
Okay.
Every
now
single
that's
day.
Good. Now that's good.
And I got a mic
I
got a mic on the chest, and I just haven't got that muse back yet. Like where it's like it's time to start creating again, but lyrics are a lot of fun, and this is like a freestyle to me too, kind of like the podcast, like freestyling conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna steal one of your lines there.
But I could see what you're saying though, like why not give it more? So it's like shame on you for not investing in yourself.
Right.
Go all the way.
I see.
That's exactly it.
Go all the way.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And if I came in here and you were like, I'm a rap musician, but I'm doing this on the side, I'd be like, oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
Right on, but
No, that's in the past right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that's kind of reversed a little bit too, because even once COVID hit, the Ridge Runner shut down. We there's been talks that we might get back together, which I'd love to do, because I love playing music and I love collaborating and learning. I'm a very novice musician, but I love doing it, right? And so we started this project in 2019, went video in 2020, right before the pandemic started, right? And so when everything got shut down, all that creative energy and all the love and all that kind of went into this project, and it scratches a similar itch. We've talked about this on previous episodes of creating content. Even though it's as simple as sitting down having a conversation, we're still creating, right? And we're putting it out there to the world. So I think that kind of, I don't know if it fulfills my musical needs, but it checks the box of what I need to do creatively.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, at the end of the day, it's good for folks.
I mean, you guys are improvising without instruments, doing what you're doing, which
essentially, essentially. But we're also,
which is, I mean, this is your rap right now. You're improvisational, entertainment.
So really for, because that was years ago when I was like really trying to make and produce music, and I went decently far, but the rap community is extremely cliquey, and everyone is peacocking and puff chest, if I could say it like that. So it's one of those industries where it's like everyone wants to be the best, and I never took that position myself. I was just enjoying what I was doing. And so, like, for me, because I'll still freestyle daily, and it's been so much fun to do that. I don't even record them, which I probably should, because there's a lot of great lyrics in there, but it's like a place to vent and release. It's like, I'm going to let go of the day here.
I'm getting a better picture now, which is great, because you're doing it because you love it, and, like, this is my release, and this is what I love. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like...
But if you're walking in with the puffy chest going, watch me throw down my line, or whatever, then it's
I'm a dope MC. I'm going to rap better than everyone. Yeah, no, that's some bullshit. No, music, the lyrics to me, as far as rapping and freestyling, and even and like writing lyrics out, it means a lot to me. Because
I'm going to take that slap back. You can give it back
to
me.
Oh, no. I'm not. I can't.
Okay, well, I'm going to take it back here.
Okay.
We'll wipe it off.
Okay, thank you. I feel cleaner now. I
move.
feel refreshed. And it's, just respect between musicians. Like, when a guitarist, like, fucking gets on and starts soloing and fucking killing that shit, like, it's awesome to witness. Yeah. And it's just, everyone should find that release, whether if it's, like, working out or, playing with dogs or, like, doing puzzles. Just find something that you enjoy doing that helps you feel released.
Yeah. And if you truly enjoy it and it's from your heart, then whatever it is, whatever genre.
Yeah.
Even if it's pop country, I'd be like, Cool, man.
Yeah, if you
true.
own it, right? If someone owns it and they're like, they own it as like, this is exactly what I want to do. This is my passion. I have more respect for that than just kind of the cliquey shit, right? Like I'm just trying to either fit in or I'm trying to compete and try to say I'm better than somebody. The people that do the things they do because they love it, you can feel the difference between the people that do that and then the people that just get thrown into it, right? Like creating a band, getting guys and gals together, that takes work. That's one thing I learned when I played with the Ridge Runners. Schedules are different, right? Everyone's got different opinions. There's egos involved. There's I've done this, you haven't done that. Once you can work through all that and sit down and collaborate, it's tremendous. And I'm sure there's been some obstacles along the way. You've been playing a long time, playing with different musicians. There's always some of that you have to battle with, which is a little bit different than the rap community when you're just kind of out there representing yourself. You've created these beats and these lyrics, which are fantastic. Now you got to try to collaborate with 4 to 5 different people at times. Mm-hmm. It can be difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, but what's life without a challenge? Like, what are you chasing? What are you doing? What's been one of your biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome to get to your current position?
It's finding that group because there are all different roads you can take to success in music industry. And, whether it's the grassroots effect of touring, building fans one by one, or media presence, or selling a song, or just shooting for that one viral video, and not hardly ever playing a gig, plenty of success stories, all those different kinds of ways. And I enjoy playing live music and, sitting and striving for a media presence and those kinds of things. It just wasn't my thing. I want to be out playing music, and I like a live band. I don't like the solo stuff. It's just not my personal thing, although there are artists I deeply respect that do that. Mm-hmm. So keeping a band together that is comprised of musicians that have made the sacrifices in their personal lives to be able to go out and play music for a week or 2 away, or 3 or 4 away from home, and come back and open up their can of beans and smile when they eat their beans. That's kind of the hardest part.
As long as there are bits of bacon in those beans, I'm with it.
There might not be much else, but the pork and beans is. But yeah, I mean, it's that super drive that breaks it away from a hobby and drives that level of passion to the point where, I am willing to live in a basement throughout my 30s, to be able to go out on the road and play these gigs. And I've been doing that for a long time, and it's really hard to find a group that can do that for such low pay when you're striving for the dream and living on passion as fuel. So that's kind of been the hardest part. And when you have that and you go out and what I've discovered, is like, I think we have that, we go out, and like, oh no, I don't know what's going to happen. And then you receive the feedback that, yes, you have that and it's working. Then it's just that's really cool. And, maintaining that, because everybody's lives change, and the more people you add in, I had bands, 7-piece bands down to 3-piece bands, and I like a big sound, so keeping that group together that is willing to and wanting to go out and do those kinds of things has been the challenge, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. You got to get 3 to 7 people together, and have the same mission and have the same dedication. And it's hard enough just finding a girlfriend, let alone 7. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's no easy feat. So I'm curious, what was like your last day job that you had while you were trying to transition, or while you were transitioning into being a full-time artist?
I was a waiter and a bartender for a long time, and then a coder, just like website coding, basic coding for a long time, and picking up shifts of odd jobs and all those kinds of things. I've done a lot of that kind of stuff, and but mostly it was waiter, bartending, and contract, like website stuff that I could walk in and out of shifts. Like if you're a waiter, you can pick up shifts and drop them off, and if you're do anything online, whether it's data entry or social media management and stuff, then you can work virtual. And I worked a lot in the back of the van, in hotels and stuff like that, and earning trickles of money, and
doing what it takes.
Yeah.
The hustle's real. I mean, chasing the dream. We're still doing the day jobs. To really get this thing full throttle.
Yeah, a lot of musicians give lessons and that kind of thing. I never did that because I need to take lessons. But those kinds of things where you can write your schedule a little bit.
That's the greatest feeling, right? I mean, somewhat controlling your time and money. I feel like that's a big goal of success for me is wanting to do that. But this still comes with sacrifice. Late nights, playing on the road, traveling. There's a lot to sacrifice there to get to that, right? But when you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. It's
Right.
kind of what I've come to see it as fruition. But man, I want to know what goes on in that bus when you guys are out on the road. I like it. There was a segment I watched. I think it was on Prime. Stories from the van or whatever it was. All these musicians were talking about this wild shit. Because there's got to be some good ones.
There's plenty of good ones, and and there's plenty of real life memes. You see the memes. This is what people think you're doing, and this is what you're really doing. There's way too much of that, and probably sleeping in horribly uncomfortable places and eating the worst food ever, and like
Hungover,
and just feeling like crap, and all those kinds of things. But the vision, the passion, it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm like, it's just part of the passion of getting to the next night where it's good and worthwhile, and so yeah, the tour stories are tough because man, our tours are so tightly booked together, and they blur together.
I know that feeling.
Now if we were on a bus opening for Legends and didn't have to do anything but get on and off the bus like Legends do.
Yeah, because you're setting up your equipment, like
Hoofing gear.
You're moving all the shit around once you're done with the show. Got to clear it out for the next guy.
It's a hustle.
Type of stuff.
Yeah, it's total hustle, and you try to only portray the good times. It's like, because every night's a party, man. It really is. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's 5 people there, and sometimes there's 500. Sometimes there's 5,000. And you try to focus on those times and not the brutal into the night loading the gear or whatever the next morning, or sleeping in the hotel, or walking across the thing and getting like a fake toenail stuck in my toe, or weird crazy things like that.
Okay.
Horrible, blood on the mattress, or just just terrible things.
So
try to forget all those.
So this is random, but since you talked about getting a fake toenail stuck in your toe, one time I know this is 100% truth. I splintered myself with one of my beard hairs that was like loose, and I like was stroking my beard or something, and like it stuck straight into my skin and like popped out of my chin. Splintered myself with a beard hair. It happened.
That's some impressive beard hair.
That's some that is some coarse hair. I mean, that's just got to be thick.
I mean, I can't say I punctured my skin with mine, but I'm going to keep working.
No, I mean, yours has the length at this point where it's like, it gives some favors.
Yeah.
But like when you have it like a little bit shorter.
Yeah, you're right.
But here's the thing about what you're talking about, and I completely agree with it, is you have to do some things that you don't want to do what you want to do, right? And it's all worth it. Like, fucking just get it done. Like, anybody who's like teeter-tottering on an idea and you're just hanging out thinking about it for months, and it's been a year you've been thinking about it now, so fucking get off the couch and just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like, you're gonna be uncomfortable, but like when you make yourself uncomfortable and you go after something and challenge yourself, like, am I capable of doing this sort of thing? Like, fuck, like you wake up drunk, like, like you're still drunk from the night before, and you wake up and you're like, shit, like, can I even do this today? But then you get it done, like how I felt this morning. Like, that's important. That's really important.
Yeah. And, the parties and the, good gigs and stuff are great, and they never cease to charge you. But on these tours that we've been doing, for 6 or 7 years now, it's funner to think about the people in the places that we go, because, people that are having fun are great, but when you have friends there or people that you know from years previous in experience or whatever, then you look forward to seeing them again. And then the next time you're in town, you have dinner and you stay later or whatever. And that begins to mark a fun time for us. It's like, was the crowd great or not? Well, if it's great, it's great, but, how many friends that we really care about were there, and did we hang out, and did we get to see some people that we haven't seen in a long time and we love, and that that kind of relationship building is really cool part of it, and I think about that a lot, and I think about the sightseeing on the way to the gig. Did we have 2 hours to stop at Abe Lincoln's house, which we did one time, or
that's cool.
It was cool.
All these different kinds of roadside attractions that you can get to the gig.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, I haven't seen you in 2 years, or you flew in from here. We have people fly in from different shows and meet us here and surprise us here. And so it becomes less about what venue was it and how big was the crowd, but, did you see some people that you love and like, and did you see a cool roadside attraction, and
appreciating life. Yeah. Taking it all in more than just focusing on the job at hand and going back to the bus and passing out. You guys are actually out there, visiting with people, seeing some of the attractions, making the most of it, right? That's what's fun about it. And I'm sure that everybody kind of has their own pull. Like, maybe some guys are like, hey, let's go here, and you're like, no, fuck that, let's go over here, right? You're always going to have that a little bit, but no, that's a good outlook on it. It's having a good time while you're doing, the traveling and all that kind of stuff. Like seeing the Four Corners. I'm sure you guys have been through there. I was fortunate enough to work down there and see that. That was cool. Yeah, just working all that in.
They sell peyote behind one of those shops. I don't know if you know that, but
Behind
you can't really get it hardly anywhere.
I could see that. I could see that in that because Cortez is a cool town. I worked out there for a couple weeks, and that's why I went and visited Four Corners. But it's just a cool place to be able to stand in 4 states at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like off this. It really is like off the beaten path. I think it's route 160 or whatever that route is. Right. You can take it down into Shiprock, New Mexico. But that's a cool place. Anyone that passes through there should check it out.
Yeah, it's a really good, cool drive. You go from Grand Junction straight south down into like Flagstaff or somewhere in there, and hit those areas, and which we do a lot actually, because we play all over in there.
You guys do a lot of travel for sure. The Western Slope, so like you said, Grand Junction, Montrose, Durango, a lot of those areas. Is there a good market out there for what you guys do?
No, but you gotta. It's such a long drive to get to Phoenix that you gotta stop somewhere in there.
That's a good point, and I think that brings up a good point. That to get to the big venues, you got, like you said earlier, we played for 500, 5,000. Sometimes those 5 venue nights, are a constant reminder of, hey, this is why we do it.
Yeah. And it's the in-between gigs that are important, you know, because
That's your new listeners, right?
yeah, and you know, that's, you know, you're always going to find something in the big markets, but Denver's far from the other markets, you know. You got Utah and Vegas and Phoenix and
Albuquerque.
Yeah, it's so you need some quality in between small spots that don't rob your soul, you know. And we're always looking for those, and those are some of the best relationships that we have is you know, getting the little spots that like charge you because you're friends and it's cool and you got good people, not like it's a Tuesday night, it's a Wednesday night, it's Monday night in the coffee shop, and this is just like, whoa, you know. And so that's part of the touring process, is building those places, building the weekday nights as opposed to the weekends, which are, you know, you can find pretty much a good time anywhere on a weekend, you know.
That's a good point. And who does a lot of like the scouting and prospecting and landing these gigs? Because there's a lot of planning that goes into that, right? I mean, working with marketing directors and event planners and stuff like that, I'm sure ties into it. Is there like a dedicated person you guys work with?
We've worked with a lot of independent people over the years, but basically I've kind of strategized in the initial exploratory touring, which we've done, is like, you know we need to concentrate on a handful of markets, but which markets do we want to concentrate on? Well, I kind of want to see all these places anyway, so let's just tour the entire Midwest and Northwest and Southwest and South for a couple
You're
years.
so selfish.
And then we'll decide where we want to go back to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did, and are still doing. And now we have some specific markets that we dedicated our time to, and we've toured, you know, all over the Midwest, and we've narrowed a lot down, and that was just kind of a strategy from the start, is like, let's try to hit a lot of the places we just want to go for whatever reason at all.
I mean, worth it. I mean, you're in that position.
Yeah.
Like you're pursuing this, and you're making sacrifices. Like, why not fucking go to the places that you want to see the most? Like, that makes total sense. And it's so cool it's cool to hear you talk about like the people and places, and how like people will make a place important, you know, that sort of thing. Like, a place can be cool on its own, but like when you have that experience with people within the place, I mean, we've had some surreal moments that, you know, after 3 years of doing this. How long has your band been together?
The Rough Cuts have been together for 9 years.
Wow.
But I was a guitar player, not a front guy, for like almost 15 years before that. I was just a guitar player, didn't sing or do anything in other bands that toured. So
yeah, no, thanks for the side note there. Sometimes like I get on something and then I like to ask like the side questions. But yeah, when you have people that, I mean, we've gotten some feedback before that like after we've left that conversation, and it's like wow, like this is bigger than us. Like that feeling of creating an experience for somebody and having them be genuinely thankful for it. Like, I'll get a little emotional right now just because it's like, you know, we're doing what we love, and we're fortunate to be doing it in the first place, but then you're also really impacting somebody in a positive way while you're doing what you love. Like, it just reaffirms like why I'm sleeping in a van, or, you know, why I'm catching that couch, or whatever it is, because it's worth it when it's bigger than you. So it's like, that's how like I feel like parents could kind of feel too, because this podcast is Kevin and I's baby, and, you know, with that, like, I'm doing something that's bigger than myself. And like when you're raising a child, like you're doing something bigger than you. You're helping another life out selflessly. And so I don't know why I kind of get that parallel there.
it's connection related, you know. You guys are building a connection with people the same, without having to drive all around the country, you know, because you're just popping up in in whatever connection that you make with people that have a similar, experience or whatever, and identify with, and that's what we're doing in person. People are doing that with your voices and faces on YouTube and stuff, and making those connections. Maybe someday you guys will go on tour, take the podcast on tour, and that's a great idea.
That's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's already in the works.
We want to go live.
We
want to go live with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will.
It's going to be so fun.
We got more to come on that, but no, I think you're hitting on a lot of good points, and I think everybody wants to be heard, right? Everyone wants to have an equal voice. That's where this makes sense, and then everyone also likes to unwind and listen to good music, right? I mean,
yes,
97% of people I talk to love music, right? How many people say I hate music?
What's up with that 3% who's like, I don't like music?
They're out there.
They are,
and the flat earthers are there too.
They are there too.
I don't want to talk to the flat earthers, but I do want to talk to somebody who is like not into music and like try to figure that out.
I mean, I'll talk to anybody. We tried to have David Wise on here, who's a big flat earther, and he could not figure out how to coordinate to be on this program, and that's on you. But when it comes to music,
that is on you, David.
There's something about people being out, having some drinks, socializing, and moving. It's the soundtrack to life. That's what I love about music. Is it's incredible. Even if you don't necessarily enjoy the genre, like I'm not a pop country guy, I agree with you there. I don't like a lot of stuff, but when I'm out there listening to a band I've never seen before, you just kind of start getting into it. You check it out, and it's you really appreciate what's going on, and it's a connection. It brings people together. It's something you can relate to, and that's also kind of what's cool about the podcast community, right? It's just having conversations, you get to promote a little bit, getting people engaged, and that's again, it's the engagement piece, right? Because you see people wearing your merch, they're excited, they interact with you on social media, whatever the case may be. It's that engagement piece, bringing people together.
Yeah, and it's funny how it works circular, because in our years of touring, and understanding how that works and how much it means to us when someone takes us in for the night and cooks us dinner or gives us a free bed or whatever, then when we're home in Denver and one of our friends' bands or something's coming around, and we reciprocate with that, and like, okay, come over and I'll make you dinner and give you a clean bed and shower or whatever, and those relationships build, and then that whole thing just turns more and more and more and
the revolving
grows.
Door.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
It's exciting, man. It really is exciting, because now we love to go places that we never used to like to, because we have friends there.
You have connections.
Take care of us.
It's so true.
We can relate to that.
So we call that the revolving door policy, and
I don't know if it's a policy, but more of like a
it's
a principle.
It's a what's the word? It's like a fucking, like a band's gonna march to this thing. It's like the thing. All right, so like Kevin gets dinner, I'll get dinner, like whatever. We don't even keep count of who's spending what. Like we just constantly get each other, and I made it cool. And now I thought it was cool, but like this spinning door is revolving so fast it could power. It could be a turbine for aircraft carrier. Like it's fucking, But when you have that connection with somebody where it's like, I fully trust you, and it takes like we've known each other like 13, 14 years. You just don't earn trust immediately. Like that's
it takes time spent.
So when you have that revolving door, though, it's such a blessing. Like it really is.
Yeah, and it goes again, like you're talking about building a network, right? Guys that you meet in different towns and friends that you meet. It's the same here, right? Like now you're in our wheelhouse, right? We're buddies. So when I'm down in Phoenix or wherever you're at, yeah, cheers to that for sure.
Yes.
So bad.
Cheers to that.
It comes full circle. At some point again, we're going to come see you live. You'll be back on the show, whatever the case may be. It's building that network, and these people, you scratch your back, scratch theirs, whatever. All those sayings, it holds weight.
And it lasts a lot longer than other forms of relationships. Like a lot. The one-hit wonder or the digital star or whatever. Those can work for sure, but the grassroots method, it may take 10 years longer, but you'll have a longevity of 10 more years after that.
It's worth it.
That couldn't be better said.
Potentially.
So yeah, that couldn't be better said. We were literally talking about that today. I mean, not taking the easy way to the top, getting out there, getting dirty, rolling with the punches, sleeping on couches, whatever it takes. That's true success. And chasing what you love, so building your people around you. I mean, that's what it is.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'd sign the dotted line right tonight. And take the ticket. But
you've been working on this for decades.
Yeah.
So you're at that level where it's like, it's time. I've been putting in work, sort of thing. I mean, but there's nothing more satisfying than dedicating yourself and fighting that fight within yourself to continue moving forward with something that you love and you're passionate for. Like, if more people can find that, whatever it is, and we've thrown out a lot of examples tonight, but I feel like that's one of the underlying foundations of this conversation is, you're a talented musician and like you just said, you were just the back, like the guy in the back playing guitar for 15 years, and then you kept at it, you kept practicing your craft, and now you're on the front line of that, and that speaks to your dedication. And if anyone thinks that success is going to come in a turnkey situation, then your that key is going to break if you keep trying to unlock and lock that. Because what you need to do is actually just build the whole fucking door yourself. It's not a turnkey situation. This is let me frame this out myself. Let me hang the door myself.
I like the analogy.
And that's where success comes from, is sacrificing and doing the things that are hard, but then what you get back though is tenfold.
I mean, if that's what needs to be done, because if you cut a song on your computer and post it and it goes viral and the record company comes knocking and you sign and you're a hit, you're an amazing star in a year, great, But if that never happens, then you gotta make it work how you can. You gotta follow, the old school way, or the way that people that never did get that viral hit going, and then that's how it works. But you can take it either which way it comes and work hard on those directions for a path of a long career or whatever. But when you put it all out there and you got the worm on the line and nobody bites, well, then that's when you find out how deep your passion is, and you go out one at a time and meet one person at a time for 10 years, and here I am. So that definitely deserves some awareness for sure. The grassroots approach, the old school shit, going back to stapling flyers to telephone poles, right? I mean, we really want to take it back.
The ground campaign.
Let's
campaign. Go.
Like you said, out there meeting people. We do this all the time. When we're not doing this, we're networking, building our audience here, and we're not done.
Getting no sleep.
We're nowhere near done. Yeah, sacrificing sleep. Being hungover at work, whatever the case is, right? Chasing that dream. Yeah. When you truly believe in what you do.
Rainbow and that honky tonk dream.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it takes. That's what it takes, man. So I always respect folks that can sit down and say, man, I put my heart and soul into this. I got to where I want to be, and there's still more to do.
I mean,
we're never done.
That earns respect. I mean, you can. I believe in everybody has a sixth sense through intuition, and everybody can tell if you're being genuine or not. Sitting across this table, this is the first time we've ever really had a conversation, you and I, and Kevin included.
Right.
And I can genuinely tell that you ain't fucking around, man. And that's the thing, though, is everyone can sense that. And once I opened up more about why I like to freestyle and rapping, then you realize too, okay, that's a serious thing for this guy. And because I'm not trying to flaunt or just boast for no reason, but you have to earn that respect to tell people I dominate in this field, or you don't just get to say that to people. You have to also demonstrate and
lead by example.
Yeah, and really be genuine. So I'm going to segue here a little bit, because we like to ask every single one of our guests an important question, and that is if you could give one piece of advice to humanity, let's say the entire world listens to this podcast tomorrow. We bang a billion views. And what would that piece of advice be to help everybody be better tomorrow?
I think it's possibly twofold. One, love your neighbor, or understand your neighbor, or be neighborly to your neighbor, however you want to look at it. And, just to clarify that in Willie Nelson terms, don't be an asshole, don't be a dick to your neighbor. And then two is, I think, I always felt, the cliche, never give up in your dreams or whatever, but I do believe that the only time you fail is when you give up. You can fail however many exams and missions and whatever, but you're never going to fail unless you give up. And, I may not be successful enough to have a tour bus, or I may be, but the only way that I'll know is if I give up, because then I'll have failed. So I think never give up is
I love both those.
Yeah, solid advice for sure.
Yeah.
That never give up piece definitely speaks volumes, because I feel like folks get discouraged pretty easily, and they go back to the complacent mindset, right? Something I say all the time, credit Coach Corey Wayne, people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure, right? Naturally, the mind wants to go to a safe, complacent place, even if they are chasing something, starting a business, starting a band, whatever that is. It gets tough. Get a little into debt, whatever they, we got to give up. I got to go back to what I was comfortable doing. I'm going back to that corporate job, and that's not the end of the world. It's not for everybody, right? But for the folks that are truly dedicated and want to take the bull by the horns and say, I'm built for more. I can do this, right? Never give up. Love it.
I would add one more too there. It's
Please.
Just what's coming to mind and stuff is like, which I often remind myself is, step outside of yourself every once in a while, climb up on the hill and look down, and that is like, in friends and jobs and careers and things, you get in that circle and you just go, and you're doing lots of things. But remember, man, once in a while you got to step out and look up on the hill and look down at you in that circle, whatever it is you're doing. And ways to do that are go climb Green Mountain and look down on the city. It's simple, man. That's as simple as that. Or go to travel somewhere else, or, stand in the mirror instead of shaving, slap yourself 10 times. I don't know. But
So one way that and Kevin could relate with this, I know, that we stood on top of the hill and looked back at what we were doing, because we have to stay humble in this position. Like we're so excited for our listener base and the commitment. Like we're fortunate to even have that, right? Like, and that's one thing that we constantly remind ourselves is like, we're fortunate to have a platform that's even listened to, and people that are willing to listen to us. Like we're fortunate to have all that. But recently, we did an episode with somebody who had served our country in the military and has a family, and he was extremely. He's like my family, like one of my best friends, like it's his sister's husband, and unfortunately, they're going through a really really tough time with terminal brain cancer or like a tumor in their brain.
Yep.
And when we did that episode to try to like make this episode and have it there, a catalog for this man's family and his children. Like that week tested us a little bit,
big time.
And you could tell I'm getting a little like, because it meant a lot to like, so those kind of things, if you can involve that in your life and create meaning behind what you're doing, that's important. That's really important. Yeah.
There's a lot of humbling reminders along the way. I'm sure you've experienced some stuff as well, similar to that. That was a tough week for us. That was, we were riding this wave of success and all this fun and partying, and then to have something like that happen just completely regrounded me. I mean, it just, I reevaluated my whole position on everything, you know, because you can get caught up. So you know, piggybacking off of standing on the mountain looking down, it's like, well, wait a second here, you know, there's people going through some shit, you know, people have it way worse than I do. I'm just a guy sitting here drinking beer talking, right? I'm no different than anybody else out there, and it was a humbling reminder for sure to piggyback off of that. That's great advice, man. I think everybody's got to check themselves before they wreck themselves, as Ice Cube would say. You know, because it's easy to get caught up in the noise and the nonsense and the social media and all that shit, right? We got to stay humble.
Yeah. Well, and authenticity. I mean, that's why you guys have the audience that you do, and you know, like I'm ready to go down to the bar and have some more beers with you guys, because, you know, it's like you were saying, it's like, okay, we haven't talked before, but guys are coming from the heart.
Yeah.
Authentic, you know. There's no bullshit trying to do something here.
No characters are played.
That's what grows connections, you know, and friendships and relationships, and what we're all trying to do here, you know, with passion.
Yeah.
With life. I mean, no, and what great advice. I mean, you talked about, I like the first point of just really, like, respecting your neighbor. Like, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to be on the same page, but, like, you can still respect somebody that you disagree with. Like, you can't expect everybody to have the same opinion. So that's extremely important, and that is healthy as well for the individual, right? Because who are we to fucking judge? Who are we to place any sort of anything like that on somebody else? Like, I'm above this person, like, in any facet. Like, even if you do make more income or drive a different type of car, like, if for any one moment you think that you're better than any individual, that's a weakness within you. And so I completely agree with that. That's strong. And, like, reevaluating yourself and like looking down the mountain, like, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in life. It really is. And it could be exciting, you know, but sometimes you get like, I drink too much. I know I'm drinking too much right now, and that's something I need to work on. You know, so I'll just say that out here and say it out loud. I hit the first and the second point. No, and the third point there. What was the middle piece of advice again to humanity? It was don't quit.
Give up.
Yeah, don't quit.
Yeah, don't give up. Keep going.
And that's so important too, man. I mean, that's why we love this question, because we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. We talk to people who work really hard to do what they do, and they make sacrifices. And, you know, respecting others, being true to yourself, and staying humble, basically, is what you said. Like, that's the Trinity right there.
Yeah.
It is.
Shit, man, we better start writing shit down.
We can probably write a tune right now.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the long, cold, hard road. That's what it is, right? Eating beans, doing whatever it takes, going through the breakups. I mean, fuck, we've been through some shit. You know, I'm sure you have too. Everybody's been through some shit. Who's kidding who?
Mm-hmm.
That's life.
Yeah.
Life gets hard. It's the long, cold, hard road.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's not for the faint of heart. You know, the survival of the fittest. You got to get out there and you got to get after it. And everybody's capable and able of doing it.
Mm-hmm. And the more shit that you've been through, that you keep standing, the more people start to go, he's still standing there. He's still there.
Mm-hmm.
He's still driving around. He's still sitting there talking after all that shit.
Yep.
You know, he went down the tubes. He went up there, and so, you know, all these people, and then shit happened. And he's still there. You know,
Like Elton John said, "I'm still standing."
I'm still.
What a great
standing.
song too. Great musician.
Oh man,
Feeling like a
legend
little
of
kid.
legends.
Yeah.
Legend
Yeah,
of
I
legends.
look, we talked a lot of music, and we can continue to talk music because we have all three of us have a huge passion for it. Obviously, this was a great chat, though, man. I really appreciate you coming down and visiting with us.
Appreciate you
super
guys
solid
having
lad
me.
legend.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Ryan Chrys, badass.
Cheers.
Definitely check these guys out. We're gonna include all the stuff down in the show notes down below. And yeah, next time you guys are playing anywhere remotely close to here,
We're coming.
We're coming.
Yeah, we're
For
going
sure.
to go to that.
and we'll bring some folks with
We'll
us.
show up, show out, baby.
I'll be looking for you. Got passes for you. We got some stuff. We're out of town for a few weeks, and we're playing at one of the biggest car shows at Early Irons in Alamosa. The following weekend, we're in New Mexico this weekend. Then we're going to be on tour throughout the Midwest in October. And so we always figure eight around the
People
States,
look
so.
out. Yeah, look out, people.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're in the Front Range areas, you got to check these guys out.
Yeah.
And,
or anywhere they're touring.
Yeah.
Let's get those tour dates out there for the people.
I can't promise anything but authenticity. And I make fun of pop country, but, I understand if they're laughing all the way to the bank. That's where the girls, the money are, So, I'm not like, but I make fun of it, because it's not my style.
Yeah.
But I understand that's where the money is.
Give credit when credit's due, right? But it's not, I agree with you, it's not my thing either.
So,
I veered away from it, and we can talk more about that off mic, but good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Solid
Appreciate
chat for
you
sure.
guys.
Thanks for coming down. Again, we'll include everything in the show notes down below. Get in touch with these guys on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You guys are everywhere. Website will include all that. Great music. Definitely put it on your drive, after you're done listening to this podcast. And I think that'll do, man. And I got to tell you this. Y'all got to be good to yourselves.
True.
You know that you deserve it. And thank you so much for spending some time with us, being genuine. Everyone can have this, right? So the challenge of this week is, and then we're going to shut this down. We've had this challenge before, but pick up the phone and call somebody and have an actual conversation. Mm-hmm. Let's get to know the people that we care about most again, over conversation, not text. If you can get in person, set a date. Let's set a date with somebody that you love and care for, and let's have a real conversation and be vulnerable. All right, because. If you're so convoluted and proud to not expose who you really are, how you really feel, you're cheating yourself. So that's the challenge for this week. Be vulnerable. Show that with somebody that you love and care about, and make that. And let's rekindle a connection. So,
relationships.
Yes.
The world is built on them.
It's true.
No, it really is. That's great advice, Art, for sure. It makes me think of John Ekstrom, our good friend who we're still teasing. We got something big coming for you guys. Stay tuned. When he was on our program last time, he said, scroll down to the bottom of your text list and call that person. Mm-hmm. And I would also add that to the challenge.
Yes.
Get in touch with folks you haven't talked to. Well, check in on them, set up a visit, go out for a cocktail, whatever it is. Because again, we're nothing without good relationships.
Shit, that means I got to call Whitey Morgan. That's cool.
Oh, solid lad, Whitey Morgan. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, make that phone call before you leave the studio tonight. Let's go.
Yeah.
No, but like we always like to close it out. Everyone, you do deserve to treat yourself well, and if you're not treating yourself well, be honest to yourself about that. And from the bottom of our hearts,
we love y'all.
yes,
We appreciate the support.
Love, respect to all.